Coming up on Elon Local News.
I do drink, yes.
New statistics released on alcohol consumption at Elon. We look into how it affects students and where the university is going next.
We head across the state and take a walk through history to celebrate an iconic figure.
And see how one business and one local celebrity are making sandwiches to fight for a cure.
All that and more.
Elon Local News starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Paul LeBlanc.
And I'm Rachel Ellis. We begin tonight from the presidential caucus in Iowa.
We have reporters across the Hawkeye State covering presidential hopefuls and their campaigns. ELN has covered rallies, campaigns, and events for many presidential candidates, including Chris Christie, Bernie Sanders, and Donald Trump.
Our reporters even had the opportunity for exclusive interviews with candidates like Marco Rubio and Dr. Ben Carson. The
candidates have discussed their campaigns and strategies on subjects ranging from Second Amendment rights to college loans.
Right now, our Gary Grumbach and Brianna McClelland are live in Johnston, Iowa, where Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is speaking about the importance of fiscal sanity. Gary, Bree, what's going on?
Hi, guys, and thanks. We are in Johnston, Iowa, awaiting a Rand Paul rally. So Rand Paul is a senator from Kentucky and one of the Republican presidential candidates. And a fun fact, he is actually an ophthalmologist.
Current NBC News Wall Street Journal polling puts him at 3% this week, only ahead of Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum. So this is a rally for fiscal sanity. What is fiscal sanity? It's reducing the size of the federal government, keeping a balanced budget, and stopping tax increases.
This is something that Rand Paul stands very firmly on, and he actually has a 7-part plan that includes term limits and an actual balanced budget amendment that are written out in these pamphlets that his campaign team has laid out on every seat in the room.
So this rally starts tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time, and Rand Paul has no announced future events for this week.
Live from Iowa, I'm Brianna McClelland with Gary Grumbach for Elon Local News.
Thank you, Brianna and Gary. Now our Ashley Boley is also in Iowa and had the opportunity to speak with Republican candidate Dr. Ben Carson on current issues facing college students today and how, if elected, he plans to fix them.
Dr. Ben Carson has been traveling across Iowa, but today stopped in Jefferson, Iowa to talk about issues pertaining to college students.
Well, there's no question that, our young people are having a lot of problems right now in terms of financing their education.
He says a long and complex procedure he wants to streamline is the college loan process.
One of the things that I've talked about is making students responsible for the principal and the colleges responsible for the interest.
Carson says this would change things dramatically because colleges would see and feel tuition and other fees impact on their students.
Right now, they don't care, because they're leaving all that to the student.
He says he would also be interested in talking with college students in the future to hear more of their thoughts for their college funding. Ashley Boley, Elon Local News.
Thank you, Ashley.
Stick with ELN as we continue to cover the caucus in Iowa and the 2016 presidential election.
Governor Pat McCrory visited Burlington this morning to speak at the Martin Luther King Jr. Coalition of Alamance County annual breakfast. During his speech, McCrory highlighted the importance of investing in education and including everyone in the conversation of inequality.
The best state in the United States of America. We cannot take it for granted, and we've got a lot of work to do. But I've got a lot of hope.
President Obama gave his final State of the Union address Tuesday. He discussed plans for his last year in office, including tackling ISIL, climate change, and poverty. While the race towards the presidential election continues, we asked Elon students what they think is the most important issue for President Obama to address during his last year in office.
Interior, economic issues. They need to be dealt with and addressed, accordingly, not going around the issue.
Over his State of the Union address, he made the wild promise of curing cancer in the next year. And honestly, if we could really pull that off, I think cancer is something that hurt me in my life and hurt a lot of people. If they can really do that, I am all for it. Let's do that.
Students also voiced their opinions on how they would like the president's administration to handle the threat of ISIL.
I'd like us to work with other countries. Personally, I don't think we'd be able to stop ISIS alone.
I think that security does need to be increased, but I think especially in the Muslim community, we need to be careful not to marginalize individuals and to not stereotype people.
With the issue of abortion becoming a hot topic as the presidential election draws closer, tension was high in Raleigh on Saturday as pro-choice protesters confronted a pro-life rally. Hundreds of supporters poured into downtown Raleigh on Saturday to pledge their support to the pro-life movement. Hosted by the North Carolina Right to Life Incorporation, the rally heard different speakers, like Reverend Mark Creech, before marching down the streets.
We have an American Holocaust in the destruction of preborn children nearly 10 times the size of the Jewish Holocaust.
Despite the large crowd of pro-life supporters, pro-choice counter-protesters interrupted the event at multiple points. Tina Haver-Curran says she's just showing support for the right to choose.
We're here to provide a little levity and support for people who are exercising their legal right to choose.
Pro-choice protesters lined the sidewalks of the march as the pro-life movement marched down the streets, causing some tension along the way.
Why are you here?
Shamari Anazia and her sister Angel, who participated in the pro-life march, say the protesters don't understand the real issue.
Babies, they don't have a say, so we gotta be their voice for them in this life.
With plans to continue the fight against the pro-life movement, Haver-Curran says she wants everyone to be represented.
I mean, obviously we're in North Carolina, which is it's a difficult place to be for pro-choice people and liberal people in general, but I think that's why it's important. We've gotten national press for our counter-protests. We want to continue to show that there are other voices and other opinions to be had in the state of North Carolina.
Today celebrates the 30th anniversary, celebrating the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and conversations are being held across the state and on campus. The theme for winter term is The Difference Makes, and this month there are diversity-themed events and programs designed to help us step outside our comfort zones.
One of the programs is an inclusive community conversation called We Won't Wait, a session designed for first-year students based on their common reading, Why We Can't Wait by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
According to some students, sessions like these help them understand more on issues of discrimination affecting other people.
To use certain words that are often misused because they aren't completely understood. Because it teaches people who even think that they know a lot about the subject, like even more than they know.
These sessions held in the morning and the afternoon run until the end of winter term. And if you don't know when your session is, search Elon Events Management on the elon.edu homepage.
Today, I took a road trip to downtown Greensboro to see how some local residents celebrate an iconic figure in history.
Martin Luther King Drive in downtown Greensboro was full of dancing, singing, and floats today, celebrating the civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Greensboro resident and first-time parade goer London Livingston celebrated MLK's birthday and recognized the importance of the day and the event.
There's a lot of history behind it. Civil rights movement, the things that he pushed for not just black folks, but for everyone.
People of different backgrounds, ages, and ethnicities attended and participated in the parade.
But, it's great that, different races are coming out, joining together, especially within the parade. You see a mixture of different nationalities.
The day wasn't only filled with streamers and music, but also peaceful protests like step dancing, signs, and chants. Livingston believes that MLK's nonviolent strategies continue to be honored to this day.
We see today the things that's been going on about, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Cops Lives Matter. You can see in these peaceful protests that, people are marching together and they want to, be peaceful. They want to, protest peacefully.
This was the city's 6th annual parade for MLK Day.
Drinking, it happens on college campuses all across the country, including Elon. But just how do we stack up against the rest of the nation? Our Alex Hale took a look into Elon's drinking culture and what the school is doing about it.
I do drink, yes.
Junior George Whitaker does drink from time to time, legally, using an ID issued to him by the state of North Carolina.
I think that I kind of am an outlier, because I know a lot of my friends like to go out every night on the weekends, including Thursdays sometimes, which I've never understood.
In 2013, the Core Alcohol and Other Drugs Survey found that students who consume alcohol at Elon drink nearly twice as much as students at the average university, a number that remains true today.
But Director of Health Promotion and Student Health Outreach, Whitney Gregory, says the figure isn't quite as clear-cut as it seems.
If we look at our peer institutions, so schools, universities that are similar to us with student demographics and academic demographics, we are very similar. We're right aligned with those schools. We are a bit above the national average, and that's something that we have to take into account. What's the context for those surveys as we look at our university compared to that national sample?
The national sample included more than 143,000 students. Most of Elon's students fall within the 18 to 23 age range, which, according to government researchers, is a time in life when alcohol consumption is generally higher. Factors like this make for a student body who drinks more, but there are certainly things Elon is doing to combat these trends.
We've got a University Committee on Alcohol and Other Drugs. We've got the Presidential Task Force on Social Climate. We're having conversations on intellectual climate to try to look at what is this culture, where are the problems, where do students perceive the problems are, and how do we fix those?
Additionally, organizations like Sparks and a licensed on-campus clinical addiction specialist are available to help students have the most positive experience in school that they can. Alex Hale, Elon, Local News.
And coming up, find out if we're in for warmer days ahead or if yesterday's snowfall is a sign that you should pull out your parka for good.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
One in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org. There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Elon saw one of its first snowfalls of the school year yesterday, but it didn't stick around for today. Our Megan Jernak is in studio with your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Megan, can I expect a snow day anytime soon?
Well, Rachel, it looks like the chilly weather is here to stay, so get your winter coats and fuzzy socks ready. But as for snow days, probably not. Today was mostly sunny but cold with a high of only 31. No snow in sight, though, with a chance of precipitation hovering around 4%. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow looks roughly the same. Same cold highs, same small chance of precipitation, but with even more sun. Wednesday won't be quite as cold with highs reaching 38, and Thursday gets even better with a high of 49, though it comes with possible mild showers in the afternoon. Friday, however, things take a sharp turn. The forecast calls for a heavy rain and snow, even though the high is supposed to be 39. And Saturday, the sun should return, but with highs still only around 40. So enjoy the break from the snow while you can, Elon, and make sure to bundle up. It may be so cold that you might actually appreciate having to be inside for 3 hours every day. Back to you, Paul.
Well, just like the snow we saw yesterday, the price of oil is falling. But senior reporter Meredith Stuss joins us in the studio to break down why the record-breaking price of gas is such a red flag for the global economy.
Yes, believe me, along with many of you, I am equally as thrilled when I see what I pay for a tank of gas now compared to a few years ago. Well, that's because the price of oil is at a 12-year low. On Friday, the price of crude oil continued to drop below $30 a barrel. Forecasters from Morgan Stanley predict the dip will continue. We're talking potentially $20 to $25 a barrel. These staggeringly low prices are due in part to a basic principle of economics. The supply is greater than the demand, and the supply has little signs of slowing down anytime soon. Now that the U.S. has gotten into the oil exporting business, oil sanctions on Iran have recently been lifted, and not to mention the Chinese market continues to slow down. All of this making Wall Street anxious. On Friday, the Dow closed down more than 390 points, something we haven't seen since 2009. So what does this mean for Americans? Well, the New York Times reports 40 companies in North America have gone into bankruptcy protection due to the following prices. Meanwhile, oil companies like Chevron and BP announced last week it's continuing to lay off thousands of workers in the U.S. and around the world. So yes, it can be a relief to save now, but it can continue to have a negative impact on the national and global economies in the months to come.
I'm Connor Dalpreet, and coming up next, I learned a new subject in an unexpected classroom.
Coming up, Clash of the Carolinas isn't your typical college face-off. It's something on a whole new level.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
I will not be news today. I will not make headlines by going through a bad girl phase where I get that bad girl haircut where they shave just one side of your head. And I will not bring a Komodo dragon as my +1 to an award show, even though that would be awesome. I'm Olivia Munn, and I will not be trending today because there's a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
Universities faced off at North Carolina State University this weekend, but this isn't the typical tournament. This is a gaming convention. Our Avik Bargave switched out a mic for a controller to cover this inaugural event.
For many, video games are a way to cool down and relax after a tough day. But for others, it's all about the competition.
And every best player meets the next group's best player. They work together, they get better together. Next thing you know, you have a tournament like this where all the best are here and are doing wonders.
It's called Clash of the Carolinas, and it's the first time for schools to come together to create an electronic sports tournament just for gamers. And it didn't take long for gaming communities along the East Coast to find themselves here.
Who knows that the gaming community is some of the tightest out there? And you know, these guys are out here because they love the game, not just to win, but they're out here because they want to get better. They want to meet other great players.
While the games are virtual, the friendships are real.
Like I walked in today, I sat down with my friends at first, familiar faces, and I played some with them. But then, after they got up, I sat down with some other people and we played doubles for a while.
Hearthstone team captain Armond says he believes this interest in games can turn a room full of strangers into friends.
So it's like nice and refreshing. I can go around and be like, hey man, I like your deck, and actually have a personal conversation with someone about what they do in the league or what they do in Hearthstone.
After a successful first event, the leadership is looking towards the future of Clash of Carolinas.
That's what I want people to be talking about for the next year is they had 1,000 loot crates. Their tournaments were streamed on the front page of Twitch. This is a first-time event. It was amazing.
Avik Bargave, Elon Local News.
The leaders of the Clash of the Carolinas are hoping to schedule another conference this fall.
After 3 hours in one classroom, the last thing Elon students want to do during winter term is go to another class, especially if that's not mandatory. Our Connor Delpree checked out an optional class that has students raising their glasses.
It's a really big passion of ours. We've had a lot of fun. It's an adventure, and we've had a lot of fun learning things ourselves. And we just wanted a means to, share this passion with other people.
Senior Nathaniel Henderson shares his passion each week by co-facilitating a Burst the Bubble class, student-led classes teaching everything from Irish dancing to beatboxing. Henderson teaches the world of fine whiskey, history, and appreciation, and says he comes to class every day hoping to open students' minds.
It's an adventure of a lifetime that me and Albert have embarked upon, and it'll never end. And so possibly maybe just being that spark that ignites it and someone else to encourage them to go out and start this adventure of discovering your palate, trying, figuring out which regions you like, which regions you don't like, and sharing the passion and the enthusiasm.
Henderson teaches topics ranging from distillery techniques to regional whiskey varieties. Senior Martin Ensla joined the class with little knowledge of whiskey, but because of the class, he says he's learning a lot.
Whiskeys can be more a casual topic, not that you have to remember every detail, and it still is a good basis for small talk or talking with different people.
While the class focuses on Scottish and Irish whiskeys, Henderson also tries to incorporate the importance of local whiskeys.
If you're in North Carolina and you can find a North Carolina whiskey, I highly encourage you trying it, because getting to try something that's made locally by usually a family-owned business is with local products is amazing, I think.
While the history of whiskey may be old, this Burst the Bubble class brings a new and tasty twist. I'm Connor Delpree, Elon Local News.
For any students interested in gaining an appreciation for whiskey, the last opportunity will be this Thursday. The class is open only to students 21 years or older.
What do Subway and basketball have in common? Find out next.
And when we come back, I'll be taking a shot with Elon Ice Hockey.
2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral when my terror is caught on camera when I finally realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
The American Cancer Society kicked off its 6-week campaign this week called Coaches vs. Cancer. Our Megan Foard looked into one local celebrity who put down the whistle and took up an apron.
Subways around the Triad area, including our very own Subway here in Elon, are making more than sandwiches. Senior market manager Michael McKinney says their sandwiches are fueling the fight against cancer.
Everybody, in one form or another, directly or indirectly, have been impacted by this disease. And so I had a desire to make a difference.
Elon's is just one of 4 Subways hosting Coaches vs. Cancer events across the Triad. But where does the money go?
Transportation, medicine, and research, which is the most vitally important, because without research we can't find a cure. And that's what this is all about.
And Elon's head basketball coach got some practice of his own today. Not basketball, but sandwich making.
I did the best job I could making sandwiches. I don't have a lot of experience. My wife can attest to that.
But Elon community members, such as Vice President for Business, Finance, and Technology, Gerald Whittington, assured us Matheny was up to the challenge. And Matheny isn't alone. Coaches from the community are also helping in this campaign.
The coaches in the community are doing this, and we often compete on the court against them. But to partner with the local coaches and the local Subways was an easy yes from us.
Matheny says it was easy to put the competition aside to help a good cause, and his particular specialty at Subway?
If anybody wanted Chipotle sauce, they got hooked up with some major Chipotle.
Megan Foard, Elon Local News.
The campaign lasts for 6 weeks, so if you'd like to make a donation, just go to our local Subway on West Lebanon Avenue.
While some students dread the cold, our Connor Dreyer found a group who look at winter a different way.
For many students, 11:30 on a Wednesday night means wrapping up homework, getting ready for bed, or grabbing a late-night cookie from Acorn. But for a certain group of students, the day is just heating up.
It's a Wednesday. We're leaving at 1:30.
The Elon Club ice hockey team has seen tremendous growth since its inaugural season in 2011. They've gone from playing Division III club opponents to its current standing as a Division I club team in the ACCHL, playing schools on the East Coast and beyond.
We can still come out and play competitive hockey against State, UNC. We have this weekend Georgetown. We beat Georgetown this year, GW. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
The team consists of players from different hometowns, majors, and even different genders. But one thing they all share, a love of the game.
It becomes more of a community outside of your team alone if you let it. The refs, the coaches, everyone involved.
And while it's technically a club sport, Captain Nick Garfield says simply coming and lacing up your skates is not an option.
Well, it's showing up, obviously you gotta prepare, you gotta be ready the day before. Sacrifice some nights out.
While the idea of hockey becoming a varsity sport is a possibility at Elon, Coach Cormier is more than happy with their current status.
We want to win, we want to compete, so yes, in games we'll field as good a team as we can, but you know, we want everybody to enjoy the sport and have everybody participate.
The team currently sits at 4, 12, and 1, but win, lose, or draw, the team sticks together as a family.
We have a remarkable group of guys playing the sport here at Elon. I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's awesome.
Connor Dwyer, Elon Local News.
That's all we have for Elon. That's all we have tonight for Elon Local News. You can find our stories online at elonlocalnews.com or on social media like Facebook and Twitter at Elon Local News. And you can also check out us out on the App Store for any smartphone to get all the news that you need to know all the time.
From all of us here at ELN, have a great night, Elon.